Uh, uh, there is a individual works for the government who is a vaccine specialist, a guy by the name of, I believe it's Rick Bright. So this guy's name, Rick Bright, you've probably heard it. The allegation now is that this guy Bright, Joe, this guy was telling the Trump team, hey, I'm really concerned about this recommendation about hydroxychloroquine, and we better stop it. And I'm warning you now. And I warned them. And the media stories, what, Joe? He was then let go. They're pushing him out because he stood against Trump for hydroxychloroquine. Really? Because, again, of course, the New York Times is like, oh, my gosh, here it is, Joe. Tyrant Trump pushing out any opposing views.
Yep.
Now, for President Trump to be attacking this guy, Bright, because of his opposing views would require Bright, call me crazy, Joe, if I'm crazy, would require Bright to actually have an opposing view, right?
Yeah.
I'm just saying. If Bright was like, be careful on this chloroquine, you're crazy. And Trump said, chloroquine could work. And then they pushed him out. That would tell the story. But that's not really the story now, is it? Let's go to a series of tweets. Let's just go to the New York Times themselves. Breaking news. Again, more fake news from this pathetic rag of an alleged newspaper, which is a disgrace to humankind. Breaking news, New York Times. A doctor who led a U.S. agency helping to develop a coronavirus vaccine says he was removed because he questioned the promotion of hydroxychloroquine, a drug endorsed by Trump without rigorous vetting. Oh, my gosh, they got us now. They got us now.
What do we do?
I don't know, Joe. I don't know. So that would, of course, require Bright to actually be speaking out against hydroxychloroquine. But that's not exactly what happened. So here's Gerald Byer, I believe, from the Wall Street Journal, in this tweet. They're all in the Red State article. You can read all these tweets yourself. Interesting that in March, this is again the Wall Street Journal, Rick Bright, same guy, Joe, requested the FDA issue an emergency use authorization for the use of oral formulations of chloroquine phosphate, the same, and hydroxychloroquine sulfate for the treatment of the 2019 coronavirus disease. I don't understand where the opposing view, where's the opposing view by Bright? So Trump, who mentions in a presser that hydroxychloroquine could work, it's already an FDA approved drug. Everybody knows that. It's the uses are largely off label, but it's FDA approved. It's been around forever. Trump simply suggests that it could be a treatment. A lot of doctors believe so too. There's been pro and negative research on it. This guy, Rick Bright, seems to agree because he's the one who actually put out the emergency use authorization. I'm missing where this is an opposing view. But the New York Times told you he had opposing view. So clearly, Joe, it has to be true. The same New York Times and Maggie Haberman that told you Spygate was a hoax and collusion was real. The same people. So I think we can pretty much shred that because we can see right there that Dr. Bright there was one of the guys actually doing it. But let's get to another point here. He was supposedly ousted for, again, speaking out against chloroquine. Well, here's Dan Diamond, at D Diamond on Twitter. Update, Rick Bright, vaccine expert, who said he was ousted for opposing Trump's drive to acquire hydroxychloroquine, recently praised the acquisition of hydroxychloroquine in internal emails. That's just really weird now. It goes on. The Trump administration apparently has been working to oust Bright since last year as officials battled with him over his management and leadership. He then goes to share texts from a year ago where they're talking about how this guy is basically incompetent. Again, I know none of this fits your story. So your story is basically totally wrong. So the Trump team's ousting him for opposing hydroxychloroquine, which he didn't oppose, wrote the emergency use order on, and actually supported in internal emails. And apparently the Trump team has been trying to get rid of this guy because they believed he was incompetent a year ago before anybody knew the term coronavirus as related to Wuhan and the new iteration of it even existed. But don't let that get in the way of your story, lefties. I'm sure you'll just run with it anyway. Is anything you say ever true? Ever? Seriously, as I asked Joy Reid yesterday, the dreadful alleged journalist from MSNBC, are you allergic to the truth? Is anything you ever say true? I mean, just by chance, you think you'd get one story right once in a while?
You just heard The Dan Bongino Show. You can also get Dan's podcasts on iTunes or SoundCloud. And follow Dan on Twitter 24/7 @DBongino.